Welcome to Disrupt and Discuss with your hosts, E and KayCee. A Boucher Ventures production brought to you by Just E TV and My Herba by the Fitness Collective. Now, without any further ado, disrupt and discuss.
Hey everyone, welcome back, disruptors, to Disrupt and Discuss. I am E.
And I'm KayCee.
Together we are
D&D.
D&D. There you go. And today we got another one for you guys. Another spring session. Since it's springtime, we are going to get into spring skincare and beauty.
Yes, for sure, because skincare is not one size fits all. What works in your 30s won't cut it in your 50s, and what's trending might not be what your skin actually needs. Or some of these trends, depending on your age, you don't need to do them at all.
Some of this stuff y'all might have to go in your cabinet and throw it out. So, just full disclaimer. Today, we're going to break it down by age, skin type, and even some underrated skin hacks. What nobody's talking about. We're going to dive into obviously the SPF debate. I have went down a rabbit hole, y'all, so I'm gonna share it with you. You
Yeah,
let me
hang
know.
on.
Right,
She's
you let me
dragging
know
me
what you
too.
think. I'm gonna drag her with me. I went down a rabbit hole because the science is saying something different that may surprise you. May
Right.
surprise you.
Well, there ain't no way to do it but just to do it. So let's jump in. Let's start with the 30s. This is when your skin starts losing collagen and hydration and becomes non negotiable. So that's just generally. Now, if you're smoking, if you're not, here we go, spring eating or eating correctly, what
Right.
is in comes out. Your vitamins, your supplements, all of that. Yeah, it shows
Absolutely.
in your skin, it shows on your face,
So we're gonna talk
so
about spring care for the 30s. To do in your 30s.
well, in for oily skin, for
Yeah.
example, glow recipe, watermelon niacinamides with dewdrops.
Okay. Okay. So oil
That's
control.
what exactly. Well, again, I'm using that big word and I'm trying to be funny, but seriously, you need to be able to control the oil while you're also adding glow. So I know for a fact niacinamides are something that is good for your skin. And it does help for oily skin. Now, for dry skin, you need to have deep hydration without the greasiness.
Right.
So, that's another thing that you need to have. So you basically want to have dewy skin.
Right.
Then there is your sensitive skin. And then for that, you want to have like your moisturizers that keeps your skin smooth, but it soothes and strengthens your skin barrier. So those kind of items you would definitely need to look into if those are some of the issues that you're dealing with sensitive skin.
Absolutely. We're not necessarily recommending what you can utilize, but we're definitely tell you you can look for these types of products that help with that, like soothing or strengthening, things like that, what KayCee just said.
Absolutely. Once you know what your skin type is, you can go from there.
Absolutely. I love to save my coin. So I will go anywhere. I'm good at looking at ingredients and making sure it's not harmful. If I can save some coin and not go into these expensive stores, I would. So let's talk about in your 40s. My ladies who are in their 40s, you're dealing with fine lines, right? The dullness, elasticity, you might lose some of your elasticity. And so, springtime, you need to focus on firming and brightening, right? For the spring. You want to get your firmness on. I always do this little roller thing. I don't know if other people
Yeah.
do. Right. But let's talk about oily skin. You want to deal with your boost in collagen while keeping your skin balanced. So you want to get products that boost your collagen. I'm going to take a page out of my esthetician's book.
Okay.
You can eat for this as opposed to putting on something topical. So you might want to eat more like peptide collagen type things to help get that balance in your skin as opposed to using a lot of topical products. But if you're not into taking it orally, then get you a topical collagen. For your dry skin, you want to go with like hydration, things that hydrate and brighten. Think vitamin C, think rose oil, those types of things. They help to bring out the natural brightness in your skin.
Hmm.
Sure, it's in the first 3 to 5 ingredients on the back, that vitamin C or that rose oil, and that's a good product for you. I'm not going to give you the name of a product, but just look on the back and make sure it's in the first 3 to 5 ingredients. For your sensitive skin, you want to deal with calm, irritation and and deeply nourishing. So get those types of products that deal with calming your irritation and that deeply nourishes your skin. So those things will help people who are very sensitive in their skin if you're in your 40s.
Not all of us are in our 40s, ma'am. If you're in your 50s and beyond, this is when your skin starts to thin out. It loses its moisture faster and needs serious repair. I know some of my family traits start to show. We get those jowls.
Mhm.
That's when I started to notice a lot of those things happening. For you 50 and over, 50 and 60s and plus, for oily skin, you definitely want your luxury hydration without the heaviness. And again, these are things that have happened over time. So if you weren't doing this in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, not saying you can't do it now, but let's stop the clock, so to speak. For your dry skin, you want something that's a little bit more gentle but powerful anti-aging. Yeah, a lot of times we're prescribed topical retinols. And
Mhm.
again, as we had said before, we're not going to say any particular names, period.
Unless they pay us. We're happy to
Cha-ching,
sponsor.
then we'll sponsor it. But then you have your sensitive skin. And so that's where you want something that's soothing and can strengthen your skin as well. So you're looking at your moisturizers. As you know, it's no secret, we are in our 50s. I'm further in my 50s than she is. One of the things on our topic that I said I would talk about is there are people such as myself that will sometimes get Botox. And I'm not talking about where you stretch your whole face, but that helps with some of the fine lines that I might have, or crow's feet, as some would say, some of the lines that you might see on someone's forehead. So again, it's just little twitches here and there, along with these other regimes. They have the retinol, which also helps with some of the fine lines. So just little tweaks that happen with exercise, balanced diet, and your vitamins and your supplements is a work in progress, literally,
Absolutely.
and fighting the hands of time. Those are things we do to kind of continue to look and feel. I'm not going to say young, but it's feel as good as you possibly can, because I don't want to look like I'm 20, because I'm not.
Right. Right.
And that would just look kind of weird. I always think that people trying to look younger than what they are instead of just enhancing how you look. Those are two totally different things,
Right.
you know?
If you any the people who get
Yeah.
their body from here down looks like a 21-year-old till you get to the neck and go up. And you're like,
That'll cause a train wreck, scare the spots off a leopard. Yes. Yes.
okay, go back
Or those that do the opposite. They put all that energy and time
into their
into
face.
neck up, and
Yeah.
then neck down, it looks like a
Now
train
you're
wreck.
like,
Maybe I'll just kind of, if I do all that, you'll just look up here and you won't look down there. Now
right.
that doesn't help.
Facts.
That
I
doesn't
definitely
help.
definitely agree. Okay. Did we do sensitive skin?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely the moisturizing is definitely key for that.
So let's talk about spring makeup trends, shades of different skin tones.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. So spring makeup trends for 2025. This is what I love about spring because you're fresh, your color palettes are pastels, right? So it's usually a pastel type of situation. But let's talk about the trending spring makeup colors. We have the mocha mousse, which sounds luxurious. It's rich, cozy brown that works across all skin tones. Then we have the burnt orange and the terracotta.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love those.
yes. And those are warm, earthy tones making its comeback. Then we have the soft pastels, lilac, which, I'm a purple girl, so I love all shades of purple. So lilac is in, mint, baby blue for the modern retro vibe. And then we have
Uh-huh.
berry and cherry lips, juicy, bitten lips. Look, KayCee got it. Now you can't see it unless you're on the video.
Oh.
KayCee has her berry.
I
If
that's
you
that's the only
YouTube,
color. That's the only color I wear.
that's the only color you wear?
Mhm.
Okay. Come on, I could have sworn I
I
seen
have
you
I
something
have
a little bit
other
deeper.
colors, but I still go
You love
back
the berry?
to the red.
Okay. And those are, we can do the lip stains are huge. I love a good lip stain. I like a gloss or a lip stain. I'm not into the full on lipstick anymore. I think for me, it ages me. So I like stain or a lip gloss. So those are the trends for makeup colors. Do you want to touch on, the different makeup shades?
For fair skin, you got your soft pinks, peachy corals, and champagne golds. I prefer the champagne golds for highlights, whether it
Okay.
be like the little highlights in the corner of your eye and all that kind of stuff. The
Yes.
little, again, I know we don't do trendy. You're not supposed to, supposedly, but again, whatever you're wearing and how you feel, sometimes I
Right.
might put a pop of coral right in the part,
In the
you know
duct,
that part.
your eye duct.
Yeah, right up
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. For medium skin, your warm terracottas, bronzed hues, and coral blushes.
Right.
Those they pop, but it's just enough, just a kiss of it. You don't need to see it
Right.
across the street. And then for deep skin, your rich berry tones, golden bronzes, and deep reds. Do like the warm terracottas on deep color skin.
See,
It just does.
KayCee, she likes it on the deeper, darker skin. She says the warm terracottas and the burnt orange. I said I'm not feeling it on the deeper, darker skin. She gave me a young lady, and I
I
looked
love
at her.
her.
She loves her, and she is beautiful, you guys. She is beautiful. Her melanin is on hit. She's a very deep brown, dark brown young lady. Beautiful face. But she gave me an example. I saw it. I'm still like, I wasn't feeling it with that color. I'm still staying with the medium tone for the orange. You guys, you let me know. Do you feel that a darker skinned person can wear like a lighter lip? I say,
I
I'm
love
not
it.
ready. She says she loves it. I'm not into it. And the young lady that she gave me, she's pretty, but it wasn't hitting for me.
Anyway,
She looked good with the berry. She looked good with the red.
I'm not really a dark lip kind of person.
Mm.
I rarely wear dark colors
But see,
because I feel on me, and not just because I'm staring down the barrel of 50 plus,
right.
but even when I was younger, I think for
You didn't
me,
like it.
when I would wear dark colors like browns, that
Hmm.
made me look harder. Maybe a brown lip gloss where I can control the shine to counteract a lot of that, but I don't tend to wear dark colors.
Okay, so I'm
Now,
gonna
a
finish the
smoky
list.
eye, now a bitch can rock a smoky eye,
Right.
but
She's like,
nah,
I like the young lady that she showed me. She had this deep purple. It looked so beautiful. And then she had a lighter eye. I like to see darker skinned women with a deeper, a richer lip if they're going to wear it and a lighter eye. To me, it accentuates them so well. But the lighter lip, I'm not feeling it. Y'all let us know in the comments.
we just
That's
have to
that's
agree
our
to
point of
disagree on
contention.
that one
Yeah.
because I love it.
Okay. Let's talk about this one. The best makeup for mature skin. Hmm.
Well, there are heavy formulas that can aid you.
Yes.
So to me, like I said, the dark lip, for me, it looks like it ages you. So I can't tell you about my 50s because I don't wear it. But one thing I do is light foundation, lightweight foundations. There's nothing worse than seeing somebody putting so much on to where it's like, where are you? All that heaviness does tend to also make you look older. And blurring powders. Those definitely help. If you're not wearing tons of makeup, you don't need to have tons of powder, because sometimes, depending on whether your skin is dry, you can have it cake up in your lines, and that looks kind of gross too. I'm seeing your eye roll. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, a
So
primer.
yeah, definitely. Not even just the primer, prepping your skin
Yes.
before you put your primer on. It goes to really good skincare that you do. Then you put that barrier between your skin and your makeup. Because for me, once I put the makeup on, I'm not screwing around with it all day. You might add your lipstick or a little powder because of some shininess,
Right.
but for the most part, you should be able to put your makeup on, and with spraying it, setting it, and all that foreplay you've already done, it shouldn't move. So
Absolutely.
the blurring powders definitely help. And then the hydrating lipsticks. So it makes it for comfortable wear. You're not drying out your lips. And again, you just look hydrated. And these are some of the tricks of the trade that you can do to continue that look of hydration.
Less is more.
Yes, as you get older, it is definitely more, less is more. And we don't need to have the black
No,
eyeliner
we
and
don't.
everything. Now,
No, we
again,
don't.
working on that smoky eye, you're going out and, a nice little thing like that. Okay.
Camera ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
And you don't want to put like layers and layers. I stopped putting layers. Well, like you, I was watching these, what do you call them? Mwah, makeup artists. Uh, that's what they call them. So,
MUAs.
yeah. So I was watching them back in the day, and they just putting on foundation upon building upon building.
Yep.
I found that when I did that, I did not look like myself. It made me look older. So that's why I don't wear a lot of eyeshadows either, because for me, it makes me look older. It ages me. When I look at myself, I'm like, I don't like this look. And I end up starting over. So I'm very basic with my beats,
So
but
you
I
don't wear
definitely don't put a lot of,
no eyeshadow at all?
no. Only time I'm going to do eyeshadow or anything like that is if I'm going to a formal to do.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
it. Other than that, I do not like a lot of makeup on my eyes. I just feel I look older and I don't like the look.
I wear it to enhance the rest of the makeup. So it's not
Mhm.
necessarily smoky eye, this, that, and the other. It might be just natural colors that I use. And instead of heavy blacks, sometimes I'll use dark browns. So you still get that eyeliner feel. Then I use eyeshadow under the eye where the eyeliner goes. It's been a combination of things that I do. I don't do it all the time because there's a lot of
Yeah.
times I don't wear any makeup at all.
If I do any type of on my eyes, it's going to be a neutral, natural
Right.
palette. I find that the more color I try to incorporate, the older I look.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you do like the neutrals, as I've gotten older, I've done more makeup to enhance my skincare, if that makes any sense. For bronzer, if I'm going somewhere and I'm using bronzer, I might use the bronzer on my eyes, maybe contour the eye, the eyeball itself, but just a little bit. And then your brushes have a lot to do with it. So it's
Right.
blended in. It's not a whole heck of a lot that's being done. And if you can't rub your hand across your face with
Like,
foundation on, you've
like
got too much.
you got way too much. Way too much.
And like I was telling you too about some of that stuff, looking at some of those mois, MUAs, makeup
Hmm.
artists, some of them were not female. So
Correct.
they're wearing heavy makeup because of the lights, because of that beard that is coming in, or they don't
A lot
want
of
it to come
shadow.
in. And some of you can use some of the tricks of the trade, but they do some stuff for dramatic purposes. Like there's this one female beauty blogger that I look at. And instead of just I use a little palette and I put my foundation on and then I put it on my face and go from there. They'll take the little wand and put it here. And so you can watch it just drip on their face. I'm
Right.
not doing that. I'm not
Right.
sponsored.
Right.
So we gonna
Aesthetics
dab
of
it on. We doing
absolutely.
all that. Yeah.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. Now we're going to talk about that SPF debate. What does the science say? So With regards to SPF, there's some controversy with regards to some of the studies that say it's essential, right? Others say it might not be as effective as we think. So, pro SPF studies show that sunscreen reduces the risk of skin cancer and prevents premature aging.
Mm-hmm.
Those against SPF, some research suggests that chemical sunscreens may disrupt your hormones, and not all SPF ratings are accurate. So, SPF 100 versus SPF 50, which I never understood either or. A
Right.
study found that SPF 100 provided significantly better protection than the SPF 50.
What's the verdict? What?
Right now, they're saying the mineral sunscreens, like the oxide,
Uh-huh.
those are considered safer, while chemical sunscreens are under scrutiny. But at the end of the day, sun protection matters, whether it's wearing a hat or if you're just wearing the SPF sunscreen. I went down a rabbit hole, y'all. So I got to get my phone because I couldn't sit with that. We did the study and then I got to thinking, sometimes I go too far. So for me, I asked, does sunscreen ingredients cause cancer? Because right there, they were talking about some of them have chemicals in them,
Right.
harsh chemicals. So they were saying that there's no solid evidence that the ingredients cause cancer when used directly. However, some concerns have been raised about certain chemical ingredients, not because they directly cause cancer, but due to how they interact with the body over time in lab settings. Chemical sunscreens and concerns like the chemical sunscreen ingredients that absorb UV rays, convert them into heat. Common ones are like benzone, oxytonate or xatate, homeosalate, and avobenzone. So these, again, if I can't really pronounce the damn word, that's
Yeah.
already a problem, right?
Right.
So some studies suggest these can disrupt your hormones in lab animals and cell studies. So it doesn't automatically mean that it causes cancer in humans, but the FDA, and you know about me, I'm not too clean on the FDA right now. They're
Right. No.
still researching it for long term safety. But the mineral sunscreens like the zinc oxide or the titanium dioxide, which sit on the skin, so it's like more topical, and it physically blocks the UVA rays, they generally consider those safer or less irritating. So, titanium dioxide nanoparticles, when inhaled, so if you get the spray ones, that can, if you're inhaling that, that could cause a problem. But if you have the lotion that has that titanium, it's better.
Yeah.
It can get into you're breathing it in, it can affect you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you have to be very careful with this stuff. So I know it's all on TV. They tell you, "Oh, the sun, it's beaming down. It's going to cause cancer," right? And I'm like, I have my doubts. I still have my doubts. So I asked, what about the skincare? They said, not using skincare regularly can raise some skincare cancer risk, but especially in melanoma, sunscreen is recommended by the dermatologists and cancer organizations. I'm not going to say that again, but these are who are recommending it worldwide as a critical part of protection. So I got to thinking again. Okay, my skin, I got a lot of melanin in it, right? And then I'm like, so what does that mean for people who are darker in melanin, black folks, or even people who are not necessarily black, but they have melanin in their skin? How does that equate versus, somebody who's Caucasian? So the incident rates for cancer for Caucasian individuals, their lifetime risk of developing melanoma is 1 in 38. Hispanic individuals is 1 in 167. Black individuals, lifetime risk approximately 1 in 1,000. So they are 20 times more common in Caucasians as opposed to us. individuals, right? Because we have more melanin in our skin,
Right.
which makes sense. So, my next question was, what about the folks in Africa? They all in the heat, dark skin, some dark, dark, dark. So, what about, do they get cancer? Do they get cancer? What's their cancer risk?
Please tell me that you looked that up because I'm curious.
Yes. Do they get cancer? They have a very low risk of cancer. There's not a whole lot of data, but their cancer risks are notably low. And they have nothing, no sunscreen. They ain't living in no houses with air conditioning. They're out in there, going to collect water, walking all day, and I'm not talking about in the cities. I'm talking about in rural out there,
Uh huh.
pumping water out wells. They do not have the harmfulness. The higher their melatonin levels in their skin, the natural defense mechanism. So the only reason that they may get cancer or skin cancer is if you have the ones that are albino,
Albino.
no melanin in their skin. And then of course you have the Himba tribe, the ones that put the red clay in their
Oh,
hair
uh
and
huh.
all over
Uh
their
huh.
skin.
Yes.
That protects them. So they know how to protect themselves from the harshness. So I'm like, well, they should have a lot of cancer
You
because
would
they're,
think, based
you
on
would
what
think.
was saying.
So my question was, and this is me talking to the AI, if your melanin shields you from, a good portion of people with from skin, why do these companies always require all of us, black folks and everyone, to they require sunscreen. They're telling all of us we need to put it on, lather it on, sunscreen. When we really haven't, do we have when we have melanin skin, it's very minimal for us to get it. And then you're at a very real risk of getting skin cancer. Also, we're blocking the vitamin D. Now they tell us as black folks, we don't get a lot of vitamin D in our skin. We need it. We are vitamin D deficient. How do we get vitamin D? From the sun, but they're telling us to block the sun with sunscreen. I said, is this a money grab? And they were like, yeah, it's kind of a money grab. Does melanin significantly reduce your UV damage? Black and brown people have a lower rate of skin cancer because of our melanin. And skin cancer still occurs in us, but it comes in a weirder way, you guys. It comes to us in a non sun exposed area, in the soles of our feet, in the palms of our hand,
Hmm.
and in our nail beds. That's where people with melanin usually get some type of melanoma. So, nothing to do with the sun, really, but in the soles of our feet, the palms of our hand, and our nail beds is where we get it. And it's diagnosed so late, it's a worse outcome for us because it's not widely talked about.
Yeah.
I'm like, how, how do we, how does that happen? How does that
Well,
happen?
as we've said before, at least within the hospital I'm affiliated with, it is no longer a requirement to do vitamin D testing when they're testing your blood. You have to request it or it won't be done. And if you don't, if you're not going to necessarily the doctors to get preventative maintenance done, i.e. yearly checkups where they take your blood count and you request that test, you're not going to know. So by the time you find out, not necessarily it's too late, but now they're going to have to do double time to take care of that situation.
Yep. And that's not a good thing, especially when skin cancer is not affecting us the way they're saying it's affecting us. And like KayCee was saying, it's not a requirement to get that vitamin D lab result. And for us, Black Americans have some of the highest rates of vitamin D deficiency. I am one of those people.
And I was one of those people until I got tested.
See, that's a crazy thing they're doing. And I'm like, why would they do this? I think it's because agencies like the FDA and the CDC take a one size fits all approach. So, because one category of people get skin cancer from the sun, all of us need to wear sunscreen. It's a money grab. We got everybody buying sunscreen, and all of us really don't need sunscreen all day, every day. I'm not
Right.
saying never to put it on, but there's ways you can do it without constantly lathering this stuff on you when you don't necessarily need it if you have a lot of melanin in your skin. There's
Right.
ways you can protect yourself and also get your vitamin D, right?
And even with makeup, you have foundations now that say they have sunscreen in them. I was told when I started wearing makeup many moons ago that because of the melanin in your skin, when you're putting on your foundation, that is another form of protection because you are covering your skin. So,
Right.
again, I'm not a doctor, but I've had a lot of ailments. That ain't been one of them. I'll put it that way.
Right. I definitely get it. But look into what I was saying. The melanoma that we get as Black and brown people in the soles of our feet, palms of our hand, and our nail beds, it is called, let me call it's called ALM, which is Legitimus melanoma. You can just type in ALM, and it's the most common type of melanoma in Black people. It's not talked about. And it appears again in the palms of your hand, the soles of your feet, and under your nails. And it is not caused by UV exposure like other types of melanoma. And it accounts for a higher percentage of melanoma cases in Africans, Asian, and Hispanic descent. And it has nothing to do with sun exposure. It's a biological subtype of melanoma that can occur regardless of how much sun exposure you get. It's like a genetic thing. And they don't catch it. They always look for just skin cancer, that little lesion. It's more in those areas. And if you don't catch it early, it can come in the form of skin cancer, but it didn't start from sun exposure. So definitely look into that.
Now you got me looking at my palms. It's like, okay, jeez.
Exactly.
But it's good to know because I literally had never heard of that.
I just was
Because I'm on the bandwagon about the whole vitamin D thing. Anybody that knows me knows that is my thing. It pisses me off when I talk about it, and then I go down the rabbit hole about it and everything. But then you add this on top of it. It's like, damn.
yeah. You just got to be careful with why things are so promoted. A lot of stuff that is heavily promoted, usually they say follow the money. Who's getting, you know? So,
Yeah.
well, let's get
Well,
into, common skincare myths and debunk them.
well,
Debunk those,
let's
Casey.
yeah, let's talk about the drinking of the water to hydrate your skin. I used to live by this myself. And the myth is if you drink tons of water, your skin will be perfectly hydrated. It washes out all the
Right.
impurities and all that kind of stuff. Well, the truth is, while staying hydrated is important for overall health, drinking water alone won't fix dry skin. Your skin's hydration depends on more on your skin routine, your skin care. Going back to that again, using moisturizers, like hyaluronic acid and glycerin kind of
Yep.
things. So that was it. One of the things that I noticed with working out, yeah, everybody's drinking water, but some of the really hardcore people that I have met that work out put a little salt in their water, would be Himalayan salt or Celtic salt.
Salt.
And I remember a nurse had said, oh, a long time ago, because I couldn't understand why I was looking as though I was dehydrated. And I'm like, I just drank all this damn water. How the hell she gonna tell me I'm dehydrated? But it's one thing drinking water and having it go through your body. But what about your organs? Does it absorb in your organs? No. So why am I even bringing this up? But putting a little bit of salt in the water, it absorbs. So that way you are getting your hydration. Your organs are getting, they're hydrated as well. You have that salt. So just a pinch of pink Himalayan salt in your water, that definitely helps with the absorption of water.
Yep. I do Celtic sea salt.
I got a big old thing from Costco, pink Himalayan salt, and that's what we use on everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
What else we got?
Let's see. Well, the other one we have is like oily skin doesn't need moisturizing. Well, that's also a myth. And I grew up thinking that too. So if your skin is oily, skip moisturizer. Eh. The truth is, skipping moisturizer can actually make your oily skin worse. When your skin lacks hydration, here's that hydration again, it overproduces oil to compensate. I've had more breakouts than I care to remember when I was younger. I had clogged pores. The key is using oil-free moisturizers like gel-based formulas. Knowing what I know now, when I was a teenager, I would have saved heartache because my skin was so bad. I had to take prescription medication, tetracycline.
Right.
My skin was incredibly oily and I didn't use moisturizer. Skincare was not like it is today. And I had the back in the day had a Jerry curl. So I'm putting oil in that. Then I had oily skin. I was eating horribly, I'm sure, fried foods and everything
Right.
else. So that made it that much worse. But
Right.
yeah, so that's a myth.
Definitely.
The other myth, expensive products are always better.
Always better. We know that ain't
No,
true.
no. If it costs more, it must work better. Not always true. Not always true. The truth is, price doesn't equal effectiveness. Some drugstore brands have better formulas than luxury products. What matters
Yep.
is the ingredients, not the branding.
That's what I said.
You know,
First three to five ingredients is the sign.
one of the things I used to spend money to get the teeth whitener, as we can see, but
Right.
now baking soda,
And
Arm
processed
and Hammer
soda.
baking soda.
Yep.
That's what it is. Or
Too.
sometimes I'll mix that with charcoal, not
I haven't
briquettes,
done that. Right.
but activated charcoal.
Yep.
Mix
Yep.
those two together. When you're brushing your teeth turn black. Something within that, it oxidizes, or not, maybe that's not the right word, but so my teeth whitener, that's what I use.
And oil pulling.
Yeah, oil pulling. I do that. I don't do that as often as I should, but
Right.
that is really, really good. After a while, I've been good for a while, and then it's like, ugh, no, I'm
Yeah.
not doing that no more.
Yeah. I agree with you, but definitely you don't have to. I still go to Marshalls.
Mm-hmm.
Marshalls, Ross.
Sauce.
I just look at
Oh,
the ingredients in the back. Kohl's. I can find some pretty good products. And
well, one of the other things that I use to exfoliate, I haven't done it in a while, but I would get, what is it? What is it? Not cornstarch. The stuff you usually make cornbread.
you're talking about the cornmeal.
Cornmeal. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Coffee grinds.
Now, I haven't tried that, but the same concept makes total sense. So that's what I mean when you're talking about basics and things that you don't need to have all these expensive brands, because if you know somebody in the industry, they'll tell you some of the stuff that your grandma or mom used in the kitchen is what they put in there. A lot of these salt scrubs and everything, you're using salt.
You use the salt. Exactly. You don't have to spend a lot of coin.
No, you don't. They might put something in there to make you look and feel luxurious, but again, as my grandma would say, all you need is some Dove soap and wash your face. I'm like, okay, grandma, it's a little bit more than that, but I get your
Zima.
point. Zima will burn your face up. That wintergreen will burn it up.
Okay. There we lead
Ah,
into it.
ah,
There you go. You
God.
need to feel the burn for your
Yeah.
skin work.
Okay, I see what you did. The segue. I see what you did. Okay.
If it tingles or burns, it's working.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Not necessarily true. So the truth is burning equals irritation, not effectiveness. Some active ingredients like vitamin C or AHAs may cause a slight tingle, but pain is a red flag. Pain is a red flag, y'all. If you come out with red blotches, that doesn't necessarily mean you did the damn thing on your face. You just
Oh,
irritated your face.
and then you want to go with, okay, here's a question I'm going to ask you, Miss
Yep.
E. Do you skip sunscreen on cloudy days?
I am not a sunscreen girl. I do it for beaming hot days, or if I know I'm gonna be at a picnic, a barbecue that's out in the sun, or just out, at the lake
Right.
swimming or stuff
Okay.
like that. I will put it on, but just every day, all day, no.
Okay. Well, for the sake of the conversation,
For the sake of the
i-
conversation,
if it's cloudy, I don't need SPF. And that's the question that they're posing. So, therefore, and the response, UV rays penetrate clouds, meaning put the shit on, but you're still exposed. Even when the sun isn't visible, daily sunscreen is non negotiable. As you were saying about a money grab, for me, I personally use sunscreen, but I'm looking at it for a different reason, fine lines. I use my retinols and get a little tweak here and there. I
hmm
have to preserve that. So for
right,
me, I'm using a sunscreen, and that's usually after I've done my skincare routine. Then I put the sunscreen on top of that. We're just kind of like patting it in there. And then, of course, I put my makeup on top. So you don't feel any greasiness. You don't even know that there's foundation on here.
right,
But yeah, that's why I use sunscreen. But then again, I don't just use any sunscreen, because if I'm hearing you correctly, the chemical ones are the ones that'll give you that cast to make you look
yes,
like Casper.
yes,
And not all people of color can wear that, but they do have some Black owned sunscreen companies that have addressed this, and you do not have that gray cast, which is great, because I think that's why a lot of us don't use sunscreen as much, because you do look like a ghost sometimes, or you look really ghostly. You don't want to look like that. Unless you're putting your makeup on top of it, then it doesn't matter. But still, if you don't know how to do that, you might not want to do it like that.
right, right.
So, but then how about this?
What you got?
Are natural ingredients always safe? Are natural ingredients always good for your skin? Natural doesn't always mean safe.
All right,
Some
clear it
plant
up.
based ingredients, just in case you guys didn't know, can cause irritation or allergic reactions,
This
like
makes sense.
certain essential oils, lemon juice, and baking sodas. They irritate your skin. So
Yep,
it's not for everyone.
yep.
Yeah. And you can have an allergic reaction to it. So, yeah,
I agree. Pores open or close?
that's none of your business.
She said the myth is hot water opens the pores and cold water closes them. Now, my grandmother used to tell me this.
That's what
My
I've
grandmother,
always heard.
she was a well. You know, I'm gonna go with grandma. But it says the truth is pores don't have muscles. They don't open and close. Hot water loosens debris, but it doesn't change the pore size. I'm gonna say I'm still
Well,
going with grandma. My grandmother's 104 and she looked not a day over 70. So
wow.
so I'm going with grandma.
But like I said, I've always heard that. So I don't know. If grandma said it and she's 100 plus,
Yeah.
I, I'm just going to move on. There's nothing for
And
me to
she
say.
ain't got a wrinkle.
Well, come on now. You know, it's the
That's
melanin.
that's true. That melanin hit
Yeah,
different.
it definitely does. So then, if that's the case, we already know about the whole pores thing. I've heard this, and you need to switch products often.
I heard because it's
So
like you need to work a different muscle memory.
your skin gets used to products, so you need to switch them up. So they get used to my red lipsticks, and I got to go
Right.
to dark color.
Right. So that's the
My thing is, if the product is working, keep using it. Your skin doesn't
right.
adapt to ingredients like retinol or vitamin C. They continue to be effective over time. Um,
This
yeah,
is like
I
those sales. I truly, yeah.
You're
It's
right.
the commerce of it all. Just like they
Exactly.
tell you need to shampoo your hair at least twice. It turns out you really don't need to. You just need to shampoo it once, but get in there really good. That was a way for you to use double of the product. So you have to buy it quicker or more often. There was no scientific proven method that shampooing twice actually got your hair cleaner.
Right, right. And actually, I have a little shampoo bar, but for the most part, I wash my hair with conditioner. I don't
Correct.
use actual shampoo because that
Correct.
strips your hair. For
Totally
our
agree.
hair, it's not the same as Caucasian hair. I don't need it drier than what it already is because I have locks, use a lot of peppermint oils to keep my scalp clean. But as far as
Right.
the hair being clean, I wash it with conditioner because it's
Right.
definitely putting moisture back in my hair while cleaning it at the same time.
And essential oils are those oils like what do you use, like mint or anything like that, or tea tree?
Yes, I
That
use
helps
it for my
like
scalp.
antifungal, right?
Yes.
So definitely.
So the main thing is when I'm home, I keep my hair, keep it up, or I keep
Right.
something on it. I don't it doesn't get dirty. But when I do wash it, I use conditioner. In the
Right.
interim, I keep my scalp clean. That's half of it doing that. And then we
Definitely
call it a
agree.
day. No shampoo. But the other part of that, as far as switching products. Now, I do, but I don't. I have makeup for the summer and I have
Hmm.
makeup for the winter. So I have a little bit darker foundation for the summer because you do get a tan. If I use the same foundation that I'm using in the winter, in the summer, I will look ghostly. You're a little bit lighter. And then I usually mix it. I mix the colors anyway, even for my foundation.
Okay.
So
I love it.
maybe that's probably a little bit more than the
Oh,
panel wants
this
to
is
know.
this is good.
Yeah. And even down to your primer. I use different primers as well. So if it's hot outside, I don't want something that's going to give me that dewy look because it's going to look like I'm sweating like a pig. So you get the ones that will keep your stuff a little bit drier and everything.
Yeah, so you guys, we have touched on a lot. So hopefully you guys love this conversation about spring skincare and
Yes.
what the science says about SPF and a little bit of something that I brought. Hopefully it opens your eyes to some things with regards to sunscreen and SPF. Do your due diligence with your research. Let us know in the comments. Let us know, rate us on Spotify, on iTunes, all those wonderful things, and check us out on YouTube. We love for you to check us out on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. We're getting into spring, so I hope you enjoyed the conversation about spring and what, things that you can do to kind of like zhuzh it up, get prepared for the beautifulness of, spring. And then we're going to go on to summer. So, again, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. KayCee, do
Thank
you have
you.
anything you want to add?
Wear your sunscreen if you so choose. There you go.
If you so choose. Exactly.
Yes.
God bless you. Do your thing. Do your day. But again, we are going to get up out of here. So we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Tiki Barber here. I remember those grueling practices, pushing through fatigue and striving for greatness. Well, that's the same dedication My Herba puts into their supplements. They understand the body's needs. My Herba takes a holistic approach to wellness. Whether it's their CMOS, immune defense, or even sleepy time, they have an option for you. Let My Herba make the best you with code BARBER10 for 10% off at thefitnesscollectif.com.